What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the brand new Nike Air Fear of God Moccasin. When the Nike Air Fear of God Moccasin first leaked, people were not too excited about this silhouette, and I can definitely understand why. It's a pretty huge departure from the previous Nike Air Fear of God 1. Not so much in the overall aesthetics, but in the cut and the simplicity of the shoe. It doesn't feature the same premium materials that are on the upper of the other Fear of God shoes, and even though the midsole is pretty much the same thing that we've seen on other models, the upper of the sneaker leaves a little bit to be desired. It's kind of a weird looking shoe, and when all the other Fear of God sneakers are designed to play basketball in, this one is just designed to be a lifestyle moccasin. I think the main sticking point for people, and the sticking point at least for me, is the laceless design and the really wide ankle. But we'll get into those details more in depth later on in the video, but right now why don't we take a closer look at the upper of the shoe. Starting off in the toe, you've got this pure platinum colored canvas ripstop material that covers a majority of the upper. As with a lot of the other Fear of God sneakers, you've got this sort of rippling stitch detail running across the toe, but unlike some of those shoes and somewhat reminiscent of the Yeezy 350, you've got this thick stitching running down the center of the shoe connecting the two sides of material together. As you continue up on the sneaker, you get to this pretty wide pure platinum colored strap. Near the edge of the strap, you've got one of the only Nike swooshes on the entire shoe, which really stands out because of its bold black color and glossy texture. Honestly, you can't really have much more contrast than black on top of an almost white material. The strap itself is velcroed to the lateral side of the shoe and covers up the completely laceless midfoot. I originally thought that the strap would help with lockdown, but I found that when I got my foot into the shoe, the strap really didn't do too much. I think the strap is there mainly for the visual, and in my opinion that's a great thing because otherwise this would be a very, very plain shoe. Continuing back on the lateral side, you get to this split in the material with this magnetic metal button that actually allows you to get your foot inside the shoe. I know I mentioned at the beginning of the video that you've got this super wide ankle area, and that's still very true, but this canvas ripstop material doesn't really have any stretch to it at all, so you can't get your foot into the shoe without undoing this button. Moving inside the sneaker, you find more of this canvas ripstop material and no padding to be found, which is kind of disappointing. The entire upper of the shoe is very thin because, like I said, all it is just this canvas. The insole of the shoe comes in black with the words Air Fear of God printed on the heel. As for fit, I guess I would say this shoe does fit true to size, however it is pretty narrow. I have narrow feet and even I found this shoe a little bit narrow, so if you have wider feet, maybe go up half a size. One other note about fit, circling back to this large ankle area, if you have small ankles like myself, or even if you have beefy ankles, this ankle area is going to give you some room either in the front or in the back, and that's a little frustrating. It kind of gives this shoe a weird look on feet. This is the kind of sneaker that I guess I could only wear with long pants to sort of cover up that gap, because I did try to wear this shoe in shorts and it just looked off. It just didn't look right on my feet. But hey, maybe that's just me. I don't wear moccasins often, so maybe that's how they're supposed to look, but for a sneaker that I spent $170 on, I did not like the way it looked on my feet. Scratch that. I didn't like the way these looked on my feet in shorts. In long pants, they were fine. Continuing back on the shoe, you get to the one thing that'll help you tighten this shoe around your foot, and that's the drawstring in the heel. This drawstring allows you to tighten the shoe around your lower ankle, which I think is kind of a weird place. I don't understand why it's not at the top to make this ankle area smaller, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess it helps with fit, but the shoe is already so narrow, I didn't feel like I needed to tighten it at all. And then moving around to the heel of the shoe, the drawstring really is the defining feature of the back of this sneaker. There's no pull tab to speak of. Moving down on the sneaker, you get to a very similar midsole setup to what you're probably used to with the other Fear of God shoes. You've got a visible air unit in the heel, and then apparently a full-length air unit above that, which I don't know if I believe because you don't feel it at all. Regardless, the midsole is still relatively comfortable and honestly is probably the most comfortable part of this shoe because the upper is only okay. Of course, as you can see, the midsole comes in a sail colorway and still features the embossed details on the midfoot and on the heel. And then, finally moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you find that same square traction pattern that you found on the Nike Air Fear of God Raids, and of course your visible air unit with the black Nike swoosh in the center. Overall, the Nike Air Fear of God Moccasin is not a bad shoe. I just don't personally love it. For $170 retail, and as of right now, only a couple more dollars for resale, you are getting a somewhat minimal sneaker. If you like the way this sneaker looks, then sure, go ahead and buy it. If you don't, maybe give this one a pass. And in my opinion, I think this might be one of the weaker Fear of God sneakers in Jerry Lorenzo's collection. That being said, I don't dislike this shoe. I don't think this is a bad sneaker. It's just not something I would buy if I wasn't a sneaker reviewer. But that pretty much wraps up the review for today. Now I would love to know your thoughts on the Nike Air Fear of God Moccasin and whether you grabbed a pair yesterday or whether you're planning to grab a pair for yourself. So make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.